Of course, I don't want to go out on you. I wanted to give you other things, which are the Power application, but I'll give it to you in the second part of the Android course. So I hope you all join me for the second part of the Android course. Why? Look, I don't want to leave here, but I want to draw your attention to a part called we'll spend an hour or two on it in the Android course because we don't have time to discuss it today. So I'm just highlighting it until we can continue this. How do we do it? How do you do it? We'll spend an hour or two on this in the Android course because we don't have time to talk about it today. So I'm just highlighting it until we can continue this. How do we do it? Do you work with for mobile? Okay, this is what we are talking about here. For mobile, install this program on Android. Create apps, features, images, camera, chat, more later, forms, galleries, screens, text, labels, buttons, icons, media, AI. For the phone, name it anything. Start with an Android app your students can access. You can create a form or gallery. I have screens to create within. I can make multiple screens and add text, labels, buttons, icons, media, camera, video, audio, and use AI. Today, let's continue with our section about setting a time limit, which is crucial. I can set the test time over 30 minutes. We'll take that later. I can create a form or create a gallery. I'll skip that and create within these screens. I can make screens and add text, labels, buttons, icons, and media. I can add a camera, video, audio, and use AI. We'll cover this topic later. Today, let's continue with our section, and we can set the time limit, which is very important. I told him I can set the test time over 30 minutes. The 30 comes from what I just opened. I can say 30 or 40 depending on questions. Depending on question type, you can rearrange them. In this topic, we'll take it later. But today, let's continue with our section about and we can set this time limit, which is very important. So regarding what he asked me, I told him no, I can set the test time to be over 30 minutes. Now, where does the 30 come from? It comes from what I just opened now. So I can tell him 30 or 40 depending on the number of questions. Of course, here, depending on the type of questions, you can rearrange them and all that. But here, to work on this, the questions need to be almost in one format. Look, where does the 30 come from? It comes from what I just opened now. So I can tell him 30 or 40 depending on the number of questions. Of course, here, depending on the type of questions, you can rearrange them and all that, but here. In order to work on this, the questions must come in approximately one. There are many here. This bar shows you how much time you have left. What do you think? How much time do you need to finish this? This is important, so you can keep track of the time. Look at this time. It shows you 1 to 3, so it adds like a partner. So I can't tell him anything. For example, now it says 2-3 with our timer, but the timer is running. So should we set it to 30 or did I remove it? But it should be there, right now it says 2-3 with our timer, which is currently paused due to a previous decision to halt the countdown temporarily. So should I set it to 30 or did I remove it from the settings entirely? But it should be there. As it was initially intended to be part of the process. But of course, it's not in the preview. I'm not really that interested in it. So here, are we not going to do anything? Here's a final message that you thank them. You can say thank you to the dear student. In Arabic, I would say thank you. So, dear student, of course, this test and all of this is important. All right, you can click on your test data and copy the link to this form. Let's say this is the link. I can also do this for the people who currently have mobile phones. Allow me to get my phone as well, and I'll try to find the app. I think I deleted it, honestly. So the bottom line is that yes. I'm holding my mobile now. I got the barcode and scanned the world. I got the form. And I have this form now on my mobile. So you can send this barcode to your students. But it asked me here for the email or phone number to let me in. This mobile is different from the one with the WhatsApp group. But the important thing here is that there's a barcode you can use. I might remove this here and just keep the barcode. I don't want it to ask me a question like that. It puts me in an awkward position. I want the phone to collect data. Come on, try again. I don't want him to ask me a question like that. It puts me in an awkward position. I want the phone to collect data. Come on, try again. After I removed this data from him, I told him, as soon as I said yes like this, here, right? I'm still Not able to log in, but it didn't ask me either. Just to be clear, it didn't ask me for a phone number or a name. He didn't ask me for anything, but of course there is a problem. He might need support, and I can take that. Just keep that in mind, and they can take it from there. Look at the beauty of it. Do you see why I'm doing this? Come on, let's go to the first unit, the end of unit test. And with all its beauty, you create an element. Is it working, or did it kick me out? I mean, the last thing I'll leave it, but just an element. Imagine this is a test. The Blackboard is coming from the form, and everything is saved here. Now, it's supposed to be loading. I don't care if it's working or not. They told me at the university that it's not working today and yesterday because we couldn't gather the students' data. Just come here. The form is supposed to be working. It tells you to go to technical support and say that this form is like this, and we should see where the problem is. It means we might still have an issue, but this is the link, and you can copy the link. This means that the embed and copy link and all these things are fine. And I can also print my form. You can print all this if you want, but I've published the topic, and I have my data here. Just check for any additional problems we might have. You can feel free to adjust anything you want inside the form. Everything is fine here. Now this is your case. You can decide whether to make it a barcode or take an embed code or invite. So let's try to invite. You can print all this if you want, but I've published the topic and I have my data here. Just check for any additional problems we might have. You can feel free to adjust anything you want inside the form. Everything is fine here. Now, this is your case. You can decide whether to make it a barcode, take an embed code, or invite someone. So let's try to invite. Let's try to add one of our colleagues. These are the people with me, and I know them, but unfortunately, none of them are in the training, so I'll add myself, for example. And I have my data with me, and here it is. But you should look for a solution. If we have any additional problems, of course, you can feel free to adjust anything you want inside the form. Everything is fine here. Now this is your case. You can decide whether to make it a barcode, take an embed code, or invite someone. So let's try to invite. Let's try to add one of our colleagues. These are the people with me. I know them, but unfortunately, none of them are in the training. So I'll add myself, for example. The important thing is the people I can add here. Let's try to add one of our colleagues. These are the people with me. I know them, but unfortunately, none of them are in the training. So I'll add myself, for example. So the important thing is the people I can add here and colleagues and connections. People are restricted and constrained by emails. In general, okay, let's try to add a new email address. Okay, here we add the same corner as an example. Okay, but the important thing is that we can add additional people to the list and send them the necessary test. Dot is fine. Religion doesn't care, so there's no problem with that. Okay, here's the barcode and embed code I wanted to share. You can place the link on the Blackboard like the test. We've covered all the tools, but not fully. We'll cover Power Apps. That means you can put the link on the flashboard. You can also put a clinic here. So now we've bundled all Wacomsoft and Microsoft tools, but not 100% like the team here. Thanks. We've spent 4 hours together, and we've covered a lot. Just a reminder before you leave, we'll cover Power Apps. In the Android course, I'll give details before you leave. In my calendar, the Android course is on the 5th or 6th for e-learning strategy. It's 2 days, 8 hours total. Hope you can attend. It's the last course on the 5th and 6th. We'll have one of those days. We'll cover Power Apps to create an Android program. In the Android course, I swear I don't definitely recollect when exactly the Android course was, because honestly, I don't want you with me right now. But let me see now so that before you go away from here today, I can also give you some work on this grinder machine. You know what? Actually, I have an Android course indeed. Today is certainly not going to be just another day of e-learning strategy for Idris Sebaid. Smartphones, which are scheduled on day 565, and it's 2 days, 8 hours total. I hope you all can attend. It's the last course, which is on the 5th and 6th We'll have one of those days, not both, of course. We'll have one of those days in the middle of the day, to cover Power Apps, so we can create an Android program. It can be used with mobile phones and devices. Thank you all very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming Android course so we can continue with Microsoft applications. And for those who attended with me before, we will cover the part about forms and surveys in Android programs. Thank you, and allow me to stop the recording of the session, hoping that we will meet again soon, God willing. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings.